Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Rise up targeted individual chads. Expose the glowies and help other targeted individuals by posting what is happening to you and what they are doing to you. Consider the following. A targeted individual is a person who has been singled out because of his or her activism, whistleblowing, or political ideological dissent. Gangstalking usually happens when a person that has committed no crimes is defamed in some way. Neighborhood Watch and other untrained opinionated vigilantes are the obvious offenders of gangstalking, including official or unofficial political groups, etc. Tactics used include 1. Illegal surveillance, bugs placed in home, work, vehicle. 2. Illegal wiretapping. 3. Illegal investigation of all personal and private documents, including medical and financial records. 4. Waves of criminal activity, including vandalism, poisoning, break-ins, theft, and sexual assault. 5. Hacking of all electronic devices. 6. Harassing phone calls, texts, and emails. 7. Redirects to gangstalkers when the target calls for help or assistance. 8. Organized harassment and stalking by law enforcement, private security firms, and ordinary citizens. 9. Being ostracized by entire communities based on slander and rumors, usually outright lies said about that person.
I'll put my 2 cents in on gangstalking as a whole. This is based on shit I've heard or been around or learned. It'll seem like hyperbole, but just chalk it up to being just me shucking and jiving. The primary word is gang. I have spent the majority of my adult life as a very petty drug addict criminal, so I've been to jail a few times, but never prison. I've also been friends with a few people that were in gangs, and acquaintances with some that were in others, and acquaintances with a few people that were in motorcycle clubs. If you live in the suburbs and go out to the city to pick up drugs, you have probably been sold them by a gang member or gang-adjacent person, at least once. If you live in a low-income inner city, or basically like metropolitan big area, with gang members living there or drug dealers or whatever, and you spend some time outside, on your porch, taking walks to the store, going to stand at your driveway and so on, other people see you, obviously. Then they tell their friends they saw that guy that always wears the Dead Kennedy shirt and walks to Mojo's Market or Star Market or whatever. Eventually, they'll figure out if you do drugs, usually by offering you a tester, if you're a weirdo that walks around their apartment naked and so on. They have a bunch of technology to evade the cops, and that they use in robberies and shit, or just have around for self-defense. I knew one guy that had a Glock with a switch on it, and it had an extension sleeve thing on the side that folded out, which was like a visual display, which was tied to his optics, which had a camera, and it displayed what he was aiming at in thermographic, with a cursor over the target center or whatever. So I'm assuming they use shit of that nature to just scope out a place, especially at new people, to see if they can A. Sell them drugs. B. Rob them. C. See if they do weird shit. D. Stand around their place and smoke blunts and ice while they point the new G36 at you with the thermal scope from down the street, with the police scanner on in the background. D. Steal your catalytic converter, or your car. Chances are they're not interested in harming you, and you don't have anything they're interested in, unless you have a huge-ass TV and a PS5 and a 2500 gaming PC. They'll probably know that you do. But these are people that are in gangs that number close to 100,000 members, or whatever. They do everything from rob banks and houses and armored cars and home invasions and burglaries and robbing plugs to God knows what else. If they end up selling you drugs, you'll probably become addicted and intertwined with them, and then used as a person to chauffeur them around. If you piss them off, they do some shit which is called bully shit, and that could be intimidation, extortion, or you being excessively ridiculed or threatened. You could be jumped, especially if you owe debts that you don't pay, but in that case you're more likely to be shot, or given some bad bat shit that'll make you go crazy, or given shit with fent in it so that you OD and die. Also, If you false flag or intentionally wear gang-related colors, you'll be scoped out. In fact, there was a gang that got privy to a false flagging fake set using their name. They dragged those 22 people out into a field and shot them all in the head. If you act like an asshole as a new person in an urban community, you'll be scoped out and ran out and so on. Their goal is to make money and to have control and autonomy over the areas where they live. They'll be nice to your face. That's business. They'll keep you reliant on them, useful to them, and giving them money for things at maximum benefit and profit to themselves and to their gang and whatever structure that has. I don't know which gang or organization does what or sells what, and I don't use their names and so on, because this is the internet, and most of what I just said is either shit that was told to me by gang members and drug dealers, themselves and me filling in the blanks and so on. However, anyway, the one time I was friends with a gang member, my apartment that I was living in ended up on the news. He ended up passing away. R.I.P.
Gangstalking is not technological, it is spiritual. Those voices you hear are spirits feeding on your energy. I don't care if you believe me or not, but this is the truth of the matter.
It's both, dude. Some of the voices are even unaware of some of the others.
It can't be. Are you saying that the hungry ghost spirits are being directed by alphabet boys? Or vice versa? I used every manner of technological means to triangulate the source of the voices and found nothing. Technology is not magic, but gangstalking is magic. They are vampiric spirits that literally follow you around, torturing you. I did some magic and they went away. I liberated one and consumed the other. I told them if they did not leave me alone, I would kill them all. And they left. Why would a human torture me for years? Humans do not do this. They are demons or some other kind of malevolent spiritual entity. I know this. That voice-to-skull tech shit can't follow me around in an ambulance and hospitals and shit. And it isn't a mental illness either because it persisted no matter the level of medication I was on, even heavy antipsychotic injections. Those voices almost made me off myself. But I conquered them after they revealed themselves to me. They looked like transparent orbs with a pinprick of light in the middle. This was my experience, and you would profit from listening to me.
Interesting. Well, I'll just say that I have been followed around by actual people. Some of them have been murderers. In my timeline, the one that I'm in now, I live, but I have vague recollections of them attacking me. I've had dreams of it happening before the scenario even came about. Whenever they were about to murder me, the timeline would be split in two. In mine, they would simply look at me and appear to change their mind. In theirs, they would kill me and be judged for it. It is the voices and spirits of the murderers that I deal with. Most have left me alone by now, as they have rethought themselves and now regret their actions. However, there are a few that hang on and watch still. There are the physical alphabet boys that tempt others to murder me. They can never do their own dirty work, for they are the ultimate cowards. But they tempt others to kill me. I can only conclude from this that a major demon or demons are in control of the alphabet boys, and every time they convince another to kill me. Their souls are brought to a certain Judgment Day plane of existence. Perhaps one could call it hell, where they watch me and are tempted to set me on wrong paths in order to justify what they did. The secret to their redemption is to give me good advice rather than bad, and they may still be saved in the end if I choose to forgive them.
I too have felt that I have shifted places. In my mind, I feel like I moved to different universes. One of the spirits tormenting me would always say he was going to kill me. One day he said, "I'm about to fuck with your heart," and my heart skipped a beat. That was the most terrifying moment of my life. But I defeated that spirit, who was also able to sabotage my computer, strangely enough by setting him free from bondage another magic user had him under. Another thing about the gang of spirits that recently tortured me. They had the voices of American teenagers. That shit was trippy, and why I thought it was technological for years. But keep in mind you can beat them. They are cowards, and even though I believe they could kill us if they wished, this act of killing transports us to another universe where we lived and left off. I want to know if there are humans behind these spirits torturing us. But you can fight back. They respond to spiritual violence with terror and sorrow. They run away. I consumed one like a fish, and there was a gang that literally cried outside my window for a week. What the hell did they think would happen when they torture a human? I'll kill every single one of those monsters. I'll hunt them down to wherever they are from and hunt their entire kind if they ever come back, because I will not be terrorized like that again. Make sigils that either release them or kill them. It is no crime to kill the entity torturing you.
Is that why the people who say this always come across as insane?
The main insanity of gangstalking is to think that the targeted individual is important enough to invest vast resources into when a bullet costs less than $1. This is why, while gangstalking is real, in a way, it is not physical. Sometimes I wonder if the entities that tortured me were maybe some kind of alien that were like studying me and us or something. That would be wild. Maybe they were so malevolent to see how humans act under stress of life and death, or abject terror. This is a very interesting thought, and one that I have dwelt upon for very long, but the more I think about it, the more it seems plausible.
These entities harvest our suffering and eat it, so to speak. It's like a drug to them. They get off on torment. The further they push you, the higher they get. I have no beef with them. They cannot help their condition.
If all of us who experience gangstalking or are targeted individuals are actually the victims of some kind of malevolent vampiric spirit entity or group or even entities of unknown origin, we need to somehow figure out what these fuckers are, where they are from, and why the fuck they targeted us. Because I am not convinced that they are conventional demons from demonology. They laugh too much. They loved laughing at me. Do they laugh at you all the time? Please post your experiences if you think you are a targeted individual. We can agree that they feed off fear, right? What if they are inducing fear as a kind of test? To see how we react to unknown stressors. From my interaction with these things, they seem to definitely possess free will. I couldn't command them to do shit, and they refused to answer my questions when I tried to ask what they were. They seemed eerily human. Could they be time travelers from the future? What if they really are aliens from another galaxy or even time that figured out how to travel as pure consciousness? If interstellar travel could be possible, doesn't it seem likely that traveling as a spirit would be the best way to break the light-speed barrier? But if they aren't really demons, why did they react so dramatically to my magic half-ass shit?
In the last 6 months, there have been at least 4 gang-stalking attacks on me. The first was June 5th, 2021. I was in the mall with some people and these 2 girls came over to me. They looked at me and were talking to each other. These were teenage girls from a gang I had never seen before. The second gang-stalking attack was July 15th, 2021. I was at my house and 2 Hispanic women started walking by me, about 6:30 p.m. One of them was holding a white phone. They would look at me and look at each other through me. They were talking and giggling. I don't know what they were talking about. It felt like they were looking at me and having some kind of weird fun. I thought they were girls and it was just girls giggling and talking, but I couldn't think of anything stupid or weird. The third attack was September 23rd, 2012. In the middle of the day at work, I felt a strong energy around me and it was so strong it felt like someone was holding me. I felt like they were staring and laughing. It felt like it was me and I felt like they had been following me for a while. I'm sure it was the same 2 girls. They were laughing and staring. I just thought, what the heck? The fourth attack happened a little over a week ago. I don't remember the exact date. The feeling was the same, but it was a new attack. It happened at nighttime. I was in my home and I could hear laughing. The laugh sounded like a man's laugh. It sounded like I was being followed. I felt like there was somebody or something nearby. I didn't get scared. I thought there was a new case of something happening because there were other events with this. In the car to work and I felt something in the back seat. I would not move. There was nobody there. I couldn't tell if it was a toddler or what. It was kind of creepy. It gave me a good feeling that I was being prepared for something big to happen.
Obsessed fuckers still following me around town messing with my GPS. They are so pathetic that now they are getting as many people as they can to take their phones out while walking past me, so I can't identify which one is doing it. This is how shit scared they are, LOL. Also their pathetic street theatre with those stupid things pensioners push around with them. I wish you could see how pathetic these people are. Truly comedy and pure cringe every time I see them. Usually when you don't like something or someone, you avoid it. But these freaks are absolutely obsessed with me. It's a witch hunt. Target on my back. They're insane. They are fucking idiots. What they do is highly illegal, and they act like they are some sort of saints. Nothing but cowards who target people because they think they can get away with it. Now I'm fighting back, and they are acting like victims. I'm going to keep fighting you fuckers. The more you do to me, the more evidence I have of you doing it. Sooner or later, one of you will fuck up, and I'll get all of you locked up. You have nothing on me because I've not done anything wrong. You are just stalkers, predators, and abusers who have committed endless serious crimes on me over these last few years. How long do you think you can keep doing these fake jobs and support before I can prove that you are doing it? I have a picture of Chuck Sunshine from Netcom on Google Maps pretending to be Jesus. I have all the emails from the fake apprenticeship you put me on. I have evidence of my GPS being messed with. My phone company and internet provider can prove you have been messing with my services. I can prove a lot of other shit. This is my life, and you think you can just destroy it. Think again. I'll keep fighting you, and I won't stay quiet about the things you do. Next, I'll start contacting HMRC and have the payment info from Tax Tech looked into, as they paid me once through HMRC and the other 2 payments weren't processed through HMRC.
For me, I pissed off some nurses and cops who think they're God, now they're trying to kill me.
There are definitely corrupt individuals in the NHS in the UK. A lot of them are narcissistic and think they are above others because they have a medical degree and don't like it when people talk back to them, so they abuse their powers of authority. Same with the police and other authorities. They all just abuse their powers of authority to target and abuse people. Not saying they are all like that. Most of them are good. Sadly, the ones at the top are mainly the corrupt ones who hold the most power to abuse. But anyway, they want nothing but the worst for me. I kind of figured that out quickly on day 1 at that medical facility. And you wonder why I acted the way I did. Fuck you, obsessed freaks. Seethe more at my mere existence. I love it. 3 more years. 3 more years. 3 more years. Haha, bring it on and fuck you.
Electronic warfare is even scarier if we take a look at the science. NSA signals intelligence use of EMF brain stimulation. NSA signals intelligence uses EMF brain stimulation for remote neural monitoring, RNM, and electronic brain link, EBL. EMF brain stimulation has been in development since the MK-Ultra program of the early 1950s, which included neurological research into radiation, non-ionizing EMF, and bioelectric research and development. The resulting secret technology is categorized at the National Security Archives as radiation intelligence, defined as information from unintentionally emanated electromagnetic waves in the environment, not including radioactivity or nuclear detonation. Signals Intelligence implemented and kept this technology secret in the same manner as other electronic warfare programs of the U.S. government. The NSA monitors available information about this technology and withholds scientific research from the public. There are also international intelligence agency agreements to keep this technology secret. The NSA has proprietary electronic equipment that analyzes electrical activity in humans from a distance. NSA computer-generated brain mapping can continuously monitor all the electrical activity in the brain continuously. The NSA records and decodes individual brain maps of hundreds of thousands of persons for national security purposes. EMF brain stimulation is also secretly used by the military for brain-to-computer link, in military fighter aircraft, for example. For electronic surveillance purposes, electrical activity in the speech center of the brain can be translated into the subject's verbal thoughts. RNM can send encoded signals to the brain's auditory cortex, thus allowing audio communication direct to the brain, bypassing the ears. NSA operatives can use this to covertly debilitate subjects by simulating auditory hallucinations characteristic of paranoid schizophrenia. Without any contact with the subject, remote neural monitoring can map out electrical activity from the visual cortex of a subject's brain and show images from the subject's brain on a video monitor. NSA operatives see what the surveillance subject's eyes are seeing. Visual memory can also be seen. RNM can send images direct to the visual cortex, bypassing the eyes and optic nerves. NSA operatives can use this to surreptitiously put images in a surveillance subject's brain while they are in REM sleep, for brain programming purposes. Individual citizens occasionally targeted for surveillance by independently operating NSA personnel NSA personnel can control the lives of hundreds of thousands of individuals in the U.S. by using the NSA's domestic intelligence network and cover businesses. The operations independently run by them can sometimes go beyond the bounds of law-long-term control, and sabotage of tens of thousands of unwitting citizens by NSA operatives is likely to happen. Each day, a nationwide scalar electromagnetic radiation multifunctional radio frequency directed energy weapon attack system employing phased array cell tower antenna transmitter receivers and GPS satellites, under the administration of U.S. Cyber Command and military contractor Lockheed Martin, is used to silently and invisibly torture, impair, subjugate, and degrade the physical and neurological health of untold thousands of American citizens who have been extrajudicially targeted by a hate and ideology-driven domestic disposition matrix as dissidents or undesirables. Most of these targeted individuals have no idea what is making them sick, tired, exhausted, irritable, confused, lethargic, plagued with painful, debilitating head and body aches. Sharp, piercing, painful ringing tones audible only to the target. Temporary or permanent cognitive impairment, induction of stroke, heart attack, aneurysm, or diseases such as cancer. Why? This is a complicated question. The people creating and doing this are trying to force biblical principles onto the populace, including themselves, through technology. For example, the 7 deadly sins. They take a basic human requirement, food, sex, a specific emotion, and quantify it within the bio API. If the result is too extreme, for example, you eat too much, or you do something not approved of, then they decide that you're not worthy of life or judge you accordingly. In the alternative, you're added to a program. The possibilities for the bio API or nanotech in general is endless. Therefore, you should not focus on any one reason as being the end-all purpose. It's too dynamic, it's too complex. As I mentioned on the top of page 5 of the media references, the bio API is the greatest revelation in human history. For example, see the last paragraph of the description for Vexil, 2007, specifically the trailer for H+ mentioned in it. Data Asylum is only giving you one angle of the bio API, the nanotech disease, and all the implications that encompass it. In 1999, the world changed. The money trust, the law, commercial code contract law, applicability of public statutory presumptions, etc. Technology, nanotech, and the general direction of the planet completely changed. In order to even remotely grasp what is happening, you must disconnect your mind from the last century's way of thinking. Failure to change the way you think will preclude you from seeing reality accurately. There is no money anymore, taxes are a thing of the past, and no written law applies to you. So what we now have is a real brave new world. The purpose of this is to simply show the extent at which they have leveraged nanotechnology directly on you, how they control everyone on demand with it, and end the confusion around the subject of chemtrails and how they fit into the larger picture, while showing how the media and movies are conditioning the mind of the general public.
I live in Ontario, Canada, and have been tortured by a secretive program called Pterodactyl for years now. They have destroyed my career, family connections, friendships, and forced me to move around. Every now and then they show up and savage me with some kind of space-based microwave weapons. It's my understanding that this collection of weapons is called Salamander. These weapons cripple me, make my body shake, scream involuntarily. As I write this December 21st, 2024, I have been under intense microwave attack for 8 weeks. These so-called intelligence agents prevent me from sleeping for so long that I have seizures. They mock everything that I do, mock my thoughts, mock me in the toilet, constantly jeering and degrading me. They claim to be some kind of intelligence service performing some kind of investigation, but it's just a savage, dehumanizing torture routine that gives them great pleasure and entertainment. There are 2 men and a woman. It is highly likely that these are Americans, but they might also be the Canadian Criminal Intelligence Service. They claim to have implanted my brain and are live streaming me to the internet somewhere on some kind of network called Sidewinder. They have been watching me since childhood and know a lot about my past. They constantly accuse me of being a Minecraft YouTuber or a Roblox YouTuber, although I have never been accused, tried, or convicted of such a crime. I have been recording them for years using various microphones as they torture me in various Ontario hospitals, including Queensway Carleton Hospital, Mount Sinai Hospital, St. Michael's Hospital, Barrie Regional Hospital. I have given evidence to the Ontario Provincial Police, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and even Canadian Forces Base Petawawa, but no one has helped me. At the same time, I have been stalked by some crazy-looking people with savage satanic-style tattoos, which I have captured on GoPro. My experiences are consistent with the widely reported targeted individual phenomenon all over the world.
A microwave is just a radio wave that is shorter than standard radio used for communication, but longer than infrared. I know you're schizophrenic, or more likely just a LARPing shitposter, but I struggle with Poe's law. But in any case, you should be eased to know that everyone is already being bombarded with microwaves just from natural sources, and they cannot be used to target individuals.
I am aware that the burden of proof is very high, and that my statements are consistent with schizophrenia. I have had many months of medical care, including weeks of inpatient treatment in mental hospitals, and have been given Haldol, olanzapine, paliperidone, others. All of these typical medications had no effect whatsoever on the signal that I was hearing. All the while, I have been covertly recording with a Zoom H1N and at other times with Sony PCM D10. The signal is multifaceted with audio components and microwave components. It affects the microphones in strange ways. There has been a lot of chatter about a microwave cyclone. I have no idea what this is, nor do I truly know what the pterodactyl program is or the salamander technologies. I would like to share an archive of sounds and photos and videos somehow. This is my first time posting on 4chan.
If the intelligence community can read anyone's mind on the planet, that will have profound implications for national security, personal freedom, and many aspects of human rights. I think that the targeted individual phenomenon is to some extent a privilege abuse issue. In my case, I can hear a man named Chris, another man who I believe to be named Alex, and a woman who has the title of a federal prosecutor. Chris is going on a rampage targeting and abusing me, and his colleagues are trying to restrain him while he maintains that he is just getting started. College dormitory atmosphere, extremely unprofessional and degrading. There is a 1984 UN convention that specifically concerns this behavior. Anyways, what is most likely happening is OP read about the microwave auditory effect on Facebook once and his schizo-paranoia latched onto it. Microwaves in very specific conditions can cause auditory effects, but this is more to do with thermal expansion of the cochlea in the inner ear, which is already exposed to outside stimuli via the ear canal. It's not particularly useful because you'd need to be directly exposed to whatever is transmitting these mirror waves, and at that point they might as well just be targeting you with actual sound waves that can't be trivially blocked with a Faraday cage or a fucking drywall. The microwaves used in these experiments are always low amplitude anyways because any higher would just melt your brain anyways, which is not particularly useful. The power levels used in this phenomenon only caused a temperature difference of the cochlea on the order of 10 circumflex 5 degrees C, and could only be perceptible because of frequency and not amplitude. It wasn't the absolute peak thermal expansion that causes these perceptions, but rather the frequency of said thermal expansions, or in other words, the frequency of the microwaves themselves, which could be as low as 200 megahertz. In any case, because this could really only be done at low amplitude, it's not really practical to induce these onto a subject covertly because of the pesky inverse square law. I hope you get the psychological help you need, OP. Remember, knowledge is power, and knowing is only half the battle. I suggest learning about these subjects from reputable sources to ease your paranoia, and also have a good Christmas.
It's sad to see ignorant comments, but I will continue. It should be very concerning to you and your family and everyone you love that your minds can be covertly read by an unknown and anonymous international third party who has no respect for UN conventions and human rights. At first, I had no idea who these people were and completely freaked out and had an hero attempt followed by months in hospital. This was years ago. At later engagements, I started getting more information and realized that this was not some supernatural being, but a small group of people using an advanced brain interface technology to harass and target people. I have about 30 years of audio production experience, so I started recording and analyzing whatever I could pick up. Spectral analysis, Wavelab, RME, Neumann. The internet can be an echo chamber, but I am a very discerning individual. I also respect people's time when I share information. These people have torn my whole life apart, and I will do everything that I can to expose them. I have about 1 terabyte of audio, photos, and videos, but would only share the most compelling point, 0.001% of that. I will find a way to share this and post a link for anyone to download. Crazy stuff here. The voices ride the energy of any significant localized vibration or sound source. I even recorded them in York Mills TTC, which is the deepest point of the Toronto transit system. The signal goes through everything and cannot be blocked. It is not a wave, but it produces consistently repeatable audio artifacts. I am not a tech expert by any means, but I am of the opinion that there is still a spiritual overlap to this tech and the people using it against us. It's frustrating that something with so much evidence behind it, such as the negative health effects of microwaves and cell phones, and how that ties into all this. And I understand people claiming to be TIs are wary of anything that will make their claims easier to dismiss. But my experiences have led me to believe that is the case. If you ever get a chance to read the book, In the Realm of the Inorganic Beings, I highly recommend it.
I believe you, OP. I'm in the same fucking boat. You have a few falsehoods you believe, but for the most part you're aware of what's going on. Try not to give a shit what they say. And remember, these are the fucks targeting people and causing kids to get blasted away, so whenever they mock you, just silently transfer that thought to remind them. They don't have an implant in your brain. Your shit is not being live streamed. The voices you hear are AI. 2 males and a female seems to be a common theme in their little telepathic AI harassment model. Avoid hospitals, avoid reporting this to the police. All it will do is make you look crazy. The government knows this shit exists, but can't publicly acknowledge it without cities burning to the ground. This is the Havana Syndrome technology that made the news a few years ago when they couldn't label their little fellow government pay pigs as schizo like they do the general public. CIA did their cleanup job, and the congressional testimony cover-up laughably revealed it to be Russian microwaves that can make you feel icky. The reality is exactly what you already know. It's frequency radiation tech operating as a remote brain-computer interface that can read right to the mind. Literally just ignore it and do whatever the fuck you want. I don't know how you're not already at that point. This shit stopped having an effect on me as soon as I figured out what it really was. Rather than mock me, my V2K just repeats the same 3 or 4 phrases day in and day out in an attempt to annoy me. If you're bored, watch season 1 of The X-Files. Some glowy slipped facets of this tech into a few episodes, probably imagining this shit wouldn't be used on a massive scale like it is now, causing nobody to notice.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel, as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.